They say she does have a 5-day weekend. So when she absents, take out your pencil, your paper, and your pen. I taking all it to political school today, where you go learn and be properly well told. So when you see they come with the confusion, the mayhem and the bacchanal, and you know how some of them they like to reside deep down in the dirty canal, when they see the surface, you go be well equipped. Your knowledge go be hot. It go hot them more than the crack of a whip. So join me at
Hi
5:30
Roxanne,
p.m. today.
Petal,
School go be in
Margaret, Emmeline.
session.
Yes,
And
I'm
when
late
I
today.
done, you go be a
I'll get the
graduate.
bus late.
They ain't gonna know what to do and what to say. Cause your
I used to
knowledge,
have the
it
pleasure
go
to
leave
dedicate
them
my
in a vegetative state.
and I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country. So people today, I'm gonna stick down my tags on them. So good news. You know, we always start with some good news. There's always something good to celebrate or to speak about despite the issues that we are having. Yeah? So I'm seeing here. Hi Jonathan. I'm seeing here. Excuse me. Something tickling my nose there. And this was in the Guardian. 19 hours ago, it says businessman pledge $120,000 for school furniture. With rural schools facing ongoing furniture shortage, San Fernando businessman Andy Balgobin has pledged $120,000 in donation to supply desks and chairs to some of the country's most underserved rural schools. He made the announcement at the Rapid Fire Kids Foundation annual gala fundraiser dinner at Achievers Banquet Hall in Duncan Village, San Fernando on Saturday. Balgobin announcement followed complaints from teachers and parents of Miaro Secondary School that there was no furniture for students at the start of the term. President of the foundation, the whole thing just right. President of the foundation, Kevin Ratiram, thanked Balgobin, saying they will coordinate to ensure the school furniture gets to the schools by going through the appropriate channel. Meanwhile, guest speaker Dr. Jerome Tilak Singh, a noted advocate for youth welfare, used the platform to emphasize the urgent need to safeguard the future of our nation's children. Calling for unity in the face of what he described as societal monsters, Dr. Tilak Singh implored citizens to take action, warning we must arm ourselves to destroy these monsters that have eroded the fabric of our community and society. And you don't need a firearm to destroy these monsters. He highlighted 7 metaphorical monsters of societal challenges, calling upon everyone to confront these forces. Amongst the monsters he described, the first is dual headed menace, ignorance, and intolerance. Tilak Singh called for education as a primary weapon in this battle, noting that tolerance and understanding are essential in schools, communities, and homes. The ignorance monster has promoted the culture of bullying and peer pressure that has invaded our country, he said, adding, without tolerance, society will continue to fragment along lines of gender, religion, and ethnicity. Every child deserves to be nurtured in a peaceful, inclusive environment, he urged. Tilak Singh said, the gambling vampire lures people to the false promise of wealth. He lamented the growing popularity of gambling, saying, this vampire is draining the resources of families, wasting both time and money. He expressed frustration that wealthy citizens often contribute to this cycle by funding casinos and gambling establishments rather than investing in healthcare, social support, or education. Materials that can fill pockets, but charity and love will fill the heart. He said, quoting Mother Teresa and Gandhi to illustrate his point. Our greatest wealth is measured not in dollars, but in the kindness we extend to others, he added. Tillotson also spoke about the bloodthirsty dragon of violence and alarming rate of child abuse and murder. Every day, innocent lives are lost, and the nation watches. Tillotson said as he implored citizens to take action. Reflecting on colonial history, he spoke of ghosts of colonialism that continue to influence attitudes and behaviors in modern TNT. Rather than erasing the past, he advised, we must learn from it, honor it, and move forward with pride in our culture. Tillotson commended the foundation for its work and called for continued collaboration amongst NGOs, community, and groups and citizens. It's refreshing to hear that somebody didn't say the government to blame. That is why I read the whole thing. It's refreshing that he has put responsibilities on other societal agents for treating what are the issues that we have in our society. I'm seeing here also that a group, where everything gone. First time they won some volleyball. Let me get it quickly. Right, first time. So this was in the Guardian one day ago, and it says here it's opening. Hi Candace, hi Melka, hi Glennis, Augustus, hi Merle. Listen, if this thing ain't open, I just reading the headlines. Because I'm trying to open it and it just, we don't have time to stick. Hi, my Trini Brooklyn sister. Come on, man. Okay. Today is just going to be a headline reader for this, so let me see what it's about. It's TNT Stephen Enel and Joel Theodore secured their first ever regional title when they won the inaugural Caribbean Zonal Volleyball Association, CAZOVA Kosovo, Senior Beach Volleyball Men's title at the Rudy Boysen Complex in Bonaire on Thursday night. So congratulations to our team. First time ever winning that volleyball competition. I'm also seeing that tourism has created some money. Let's see what this is about. So this was in the Daily Express. Okay. Well, because it's a couple of days, well, I'll just read the headline. Of course, Trinidad sees US 5.4 million revenue from cruise tourism. So that is a good thing, even in these times when we may have issues, and you know the kind of issues that we have, crime and all that. We're still seeing that tourism is still our destination. Trinidad is numbered one of the 10 top destinations, I think it is, for tourism, for islands, for people to come visit. So, hi, Lord Father. Today, like, it's one of these days when everything ain't looking like it opening. I don't know what's happening. Hi, Rosalind. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Hazelon. Let me try it one more time. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. So they just had a conversation, a calling on I-95.5, Ralph Mirage. And I had to tell him he sounds hateful. He sounds hateful. He don't sound like a man with joy at all. Oh God, like that, get the man hot. He started to carry on and telling me that I was a PNM sicko fan or something. So but I didn't get a chance to tell him I prefer to be labeled as a PNM sicko fan than a UNC dunce. I didn't get the opportunity to tell him that. So if anyone out there know him, whatever it is, tell him I say so. Tell him I prefer to be a PNM sicko fan, if that is what he labeled me as, than a UNC dunce. Any day, anytime. You see the thing about them, why they don't like Dr. Rowley? Because Dr. Rowley don't pacify. He call a spade a spade. And coming from Tobago, their language or their dialect is totally different than ours. So the way how he does talk, he have a problem. Yeah? Because he don't bow down to them and take no talk. They just want to give me this answer to suit and they can't take that. So I have a problem with him. So it's open. So this was next thing again 3 days ago. New hotel to boost Trinidad and Tobago accommodation sector. I'll just go into it quickly. Trinidad and Tobago accommodation sector will get an additional boost of 2 hotels carrying the Hilton brand due to join Trinidad accommodation sector in the next 2 years. Tobago didn't want sandals, we taking the Hilton. Steel is already underground, marking the commencement of the construction of the Hilton and Hampton Inn in Piaco, while the Hilton Garden Inn, to be located at South Park in San Fernando, is expected to be constructed in the first half of 2025. The developer from Hilton Hampton Inn in Piaco is Carl Hotels, while Superior Hotels is the developer for Hilton Garden Inn in South Park. Superior Hotels is the company behind the Autographed by Bricks and the Rocky Point development in Tobago. The construction of the new hotels not only adds to Trinidad and Tobago existing room stock, but will foster job creation and have a positive domino effect for the economy. Tourism Minister Randall Mitchell had told the Business Guardian in an interview as he gave an update on the sector. Moriso, this ties, I don't know how to put these 2 words together. It's supposed to be more so. They have it Moriso, right? So based on how this sentence is constructed, it seems to be more so. This ties in with the country's continued impetus to earn much needed forex. The strategic diversification of corporations and consortiums in the tourism sector, in particular the accommodation sector, had Janabud Calco as a way to earn not just profits but also foreign exchange to support their other businesses, Mitchell said. He emphasized that as Trinidad and Tobago continues to chart its economic future, accommodation remains a vital force in driving both growth and stability, stating that to maintain the country's competitive edge, boosting the stock of available hotel rooms is essential. The minister noted that in fiscal 2024, through the hotel room tax charge at 10% on rooms, hotel contributed approximately 55 million to the consolidated fund in Trinidad and 8 million in Tobago. Further, Mitchell said initiatives such as the Tourism Accommodation Upgrade Program, TAUP, have been pivotal in encouraging both new development and the refurbishment of existing properties, noting that TAUP offers reimbursable grants up to 50% for capital improvement. So that's some good news coming out there in the hotel sector, and we will definitely not run anybody. Run the sandals and end up with a rubber slippers, a rubber ding ding. So again, I'm seeing here somebody who was appreciative of our healthcare system and would have made a video to say such. I hope it can open because we take for granted a lot of things.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I hope that you all are doing well. I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank the staff inclusive of those security personnel attached to the Point Fortin Hospital for doing an exceptional job last week Monday when they tended to one of my close and dear relatives. You know, there are people that tend to say a lot about our health system, but I want to say something positive today because of the way in which they were not only attending to the patient, but the manner in which they were attending to everyone else, including the relatives. That level of professionalism was truly exceptional. And I'm talking about being a professional and also having interpersonal skills. I'm talking about being pleasant and at the same time being able to basically explain to us what was taking place. They were able to really take care of the patient as well in the best possible care. I was so amazed, and I'm so happy and I'm so grateful because these are the little things that we tend to take for granted. And I can assure you that there are other countries which I have been to, I have resided in, and the healthcare system is nothing close to what we have here. And apart from that, it's a paid service. Point Fortin hospital staff, to be quite honest, you guys have set the bar so high. And I sincerely hope that others take pattern from what you guys have been doing there. It would be remiss of me to not acknowledge the good work that you all are doing, the way in which you are carrying about yourself, the way in which you're seeking the patient's interest, and of course, helping the families to also cope with situations at hand. Everything about Point Fortin Hospital is on point. And I am really, really happy and grateful that I can say today that that particular relative of mine is and was in good care at your hospital and is in a better situation today. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you, and I want to say continue to do an amazing job, continue to do an awesome job. And even though at certain times you will get lambast, you will get those who will come at you and those who will be very aggressive or arrogant, I want you to remember that there are people just like myself, my family, and by extension, our friends, our extended relatives, everyone, who truly are grateful for everything that you would have done and done it to the best of your ability. So this is my thank you post. Take care. Bye.
Right? And that is good that this lady would have come out and made that post, because many of us go to institutions that sometimes we complain about, and when we're going to get good service, we don't say anything, and people just continue to believe that's the only thing and only kind of service that you get. So I'm happy that this lady would have made this, and it is not about bigging up PNM. It is about bigging up a staff, a medical staff, who come from different backgrounds, different spiritual, political, ethnic, and all that. So it wasn't about a government thing. So if people feel if you make a video like this to big up the health system or any other system is a government thing, no, it's letting people know that the resources that was put into building these facilities, the people who working in it actually doing the job, and they must be commented. So let me move on. I'm seeing that you all remember Hannah Mantura, the body they found in a shallow grave that was there for a while because it was skeletons, and it was found out it was a young girl with some challenges named Hannah Matura, and her parents, so, and they came from Valsine. It wasn't from the urban community, the address community. It was a bougie community. Yeah. So her parents were both held for the murder after a long investigation. 3 days ago in the Guardian, it says Hannah Matura mother dies in prison. 2 weeks after she was charged with murdering her daughter 7 years ago, Alana Matura has died. According to police, the 63-year-old woman was taken to Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex on Thursday night and died early this morning. Police said since she was remanded in custody, Matura refused to eat and fell ill as a result. On October the 15th, Matura and her husband, Andrew, 65 or 66, were charged with murdering their daughter, Hannah Matura. Andrew and Alana, both of Butu Road, Valsine, are accused of murdering their 18-year-old daughter on a date unknown between July the 8th, 2017, when she was last seen alive, and March the 13th this year, a day after her skeletal remains were unearthed in the backyard of the family home. Hannah's bones were excavated from the backyard of her Butu Road, Valsine home on March the 12th. Information given to the police by a family member was that Hannah died and was buried in the backyard on June 2017. Her parents were arrested shortly after her remains were found, but later released pending further inquiries before they were rearrested last month and subsequently charged. DNA tests done on the bone marrow and biological tissues, tissue-like cartilage remaining from decomposed skeletal remain were cross-referenced with Hannah's siblings to confirm that they are related. I wouldn't say nothing on that. And also the woman who became famous with telling Kamala she could take the highway and put it between she leg, the one that MP, disgraceful MP, Michelle Benjamin stood up in Parliament and repeated as if that is something a member of Parliament while on their feet giving a budget response to say, put between the leg, tell PNM put the highway between the leg. She was so gleeful to say that, well, the original person she took that from, the lady has died and passed on. So condolences to her family. I'm also seeing here that they're speaking about Chinese traditional medicine. And what I mean, and all, you don't drink no Chinese thing, eh? Going and get what is the kind of needle thing, acupuncture or some ginseng drink and all kind of bacchanal. Well, let's be all up in it. So 20 hours ago, China's traditional medicine culture, it says Soca star Kes Deventella accurately describes Trinidadians' way of life, fet till are falling down. Caribbean life isn't for the faint of heart physically. Due to all the events and parties, I believe Trinis were the most active. In the People Republic of China, however, a blend of traditional medicine and rigorous health habits has been critical in keeping their bodies strong and resilient to keep on the go. According to the country's National Health Commission, China average life expectancy in 2023 was 78.6 years. This began an improvement from 71.6 in the year 2000. There are even projection of this rising over 80 years in 2035. Through modernization and improved healthcare have shaped China traditional medicine. Okay, though modernization and improved healthcare have shaped China, traditional medicine remains deeply embedded in their culture. We want to, you have a cold, they tell you, make a lock. You lock making a fever grass, oh gosh, bacano, oh god, baby bush, zebra peak, what do you call it? Zebra peak. The whole works. We know what I'm saying, you know. You know about sweating the head if you have a head cold with wherever and wherever. We know about all them things. We go low too. Imagine arriving at your favorite restaurant thirsty from a busy day. You are served water, but you appreciate until you realize it is unexpectedly hot. I must admit I was taken aback by this. It was 33 degrees Celsius outside, but drinking warm or even hot water is part of the cultural practices in China. An ice cold soft drink, milk drink, or water would rarely come your way, as warm drinks are said to aid with digestion and metabolism. This year, China had won 40 gold medals at its Summer Olympics, but I would like to bestow upon them their 41st gold medal for walking. A Trinidadian knows no limit when it comes to dancing, chipping, or any other form of movement with their legs on Carnival Monday and Tuesday. But walking seemed to be a welcome daily decision here in China. In major and huge cities like Beijing, it is hard to say all your destinations are within a walkable distance. But with the ease of taking public transportation and the national safety, people opt to walk most of the way. So that's some news coming out there from China and all the cultural traditions. And I must admit, you see that drinking out warm water, I read up on it and I start to drink that. The last thing in the night, a cup of hot water as much I could take it. Just water, no sugar, nothing whatever it is. And after about 3 months, I realized I don't even have to unbutton my pants and I could pull it on just. And I started to wonder, why am I losing weight? And I done big already. And I studying, but I eating everything, thing. But then I realized it's the hot water. Let me tell you something, hot water, the last thing in the night, drink that. All they're going to see, all they're going to lose weight. The belly went down till it sink back in. I could attest to that one. So look into the Chinese medicine and stuff, but don't forget our own because we have a lot of remedies also. So that was just a little thing on China, the traditional medicine and how they're projecting with the stuff that they're eating and stuff that life expectancy will arise to by 2035 to about 89 or something. So, but the Caribbean people, we live in like longer than them in China because we have a lot of centurions as we in the Caribbean and things. So I feel I better look at we local tradition medicine. So let me continue. That is just from, I like to go around the world. So I went to China just now. All you listen to this, eh? I glad as this man say it and we say it. Let it fight up with he with that talk. So all you know the criminologist name, Dr. Darren Figaro. Well, Papa, this is what he say. And people start to get all up in the jiffies. Let me make sure I could open. And he don't look like me, and he look like kind of Portuguese kind of looking right? So this was yesterday in the Guardian. Let me show you what it looked like if all you know. Right. Extortion linked to business funded by drug money. Oh God, oh. A business group has denounced as unfair claims by criminologist Dr. Darren Figaro that an upsurge in extortion in central Trinidad is linked to businesses that are using drug money to fund their operations. Figaro said in a social post media, if you take drug man money to build your empire and the drug man operation collapses and people come looking for the money, people come looking for the man money that you own. How come that is extortion? They are running around now bawling extortion to make themselves victims, but they owe the people money and they're not paying. That's what Dr. Figaro saying, Papa? All in local parlance to it. Figaro said it was not by coincidence that kidnappings were occurring in central Trinidad following the collapse of an illicit business operation. Noting many business owners are complaining about the extortion, but not going to the police to report it, he added, if you know you owe the people money and you're not paying the people, you are in the game and you know the next thing is to kill you. Who are you going to report it when he has all the people in the police station watching all you? From time you see the grabbing man and sending ransom, but they finding the man dead and they get the money and kill him. However, the Shoguna's Chamber of Industrial and Commerce, CCIC, denied Figaro's claim in a strongly worded statement saying that they were unfair to all businessmen. CCIC President Baldat Maharaj described the criminologist's comments as unfortunate. While I understand the importance of explaining all factors contributing to crime, I must emphasize that the vast majority of business people in our community are honest, hardworking individuals striving to grow their businesses, support their families, and contribute to our economy by creating much-needed jobs, he said. It is both inaccurate and unfair to paint all businessmen as complicit in their victimization. Many local entrepreneurs are operating within a challenging economic landscape, facing real issues such as limited access to affordable financing, high operational costs, and a pervasive threat of crime. For many, these challenges are compounded by extortion and threats that are entirely undeserved and are unfortunately indicative of a broader crime issue in the country. Maharaj said, the CCIC continues to advocate for increased support from the government and law enforcement agencies to tackle the root causes of crime. While we acknowledge that no institution alone can resolve these complex issues, a collaborative approach is essential. We are committed to working with the police and the government to enhance security measures and ensure that all business owners who are crucial to the region's economic vitality can operate in a safe and supportive environment. Maharaj said the CCIC will continue to stand by our members and represent their concerns fairly, while also working with all stakeholders to promote a community where lawful businesses can thrive without fear. Head of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Extortion Unit, Senior Superintendent Richard Smith, said he had no information to suggest that some businessmen who are being extorted are linked to the drug trade. Smith said he doesn't know any one business and he can't say if the information the criminologist has is correct or incorrect, as he would have his sources. Hira, avoid engaging with criminals. Regional security expert Gavin Hira warned the business community to avoid engaging directly or indirectly with underworld figures or criminal intent or criminal elements. Engaging with such individuals or aligning with illegal business practices, even unintentionally, exposes enterprises to serious risk, including potential extortion threat and the infiltration of organized crime into legitimate operation. These connections can undermine both corporate reputation and personal safety while inviting unwanted scrutiny from law enforcement agencies. Business leaders are urged to exercise vigilance, ensure that all partnerships are thoroughly vetted, and adopt robust risk assessment and compliance practices, aligning with the principles of integrity and transparency, not only safeguards individual companies, but contribute to a safer, more resilient business environment across Trinidad and Tobago, Hira said. Hira said he believed that the alarming rise in extortion across the country reflects an increasing organized insidious network of criminal activity allegedly driven by organized crime groups. He said the threat called for a coordinated high-impact response to dismantle the network. Hira said the anti-extortion unit should implement the following strategies. Oh God, everybody always has something to say. Listen, he gave 5 strategies. Me reading through all, and I just saying, deep intelligence gathering, surgical sting operation, victim whistleblower protection, and community and business outreach. And legal and policy support. And he gave a whole breakdown of what all these things entail. People, it's not we who say. So I don't know if coming from that conversation that we have this happening now. What do you think? Just a minute. Come on, man. So I am seeing where only give me a minute. Where South businessmen, Papa, yo. So this was 11 hours ago in the Guardian. Sando Chamber to meet Scotland on extortion and crime. Greater San Fernando Area Chamber of Commerce, GSFCC, President Kiran Singh says claims by criminologist Darius Figaro that some business owners are in cahoots with drug dealers and claiming they are being extorted is crazy. How that come crazy? I don't know. I don't get it. How that come crazy? But they will know better than me. In a telephone interview with Guardian Media yesterday, Singh said, "This is news to me. This is quite surprising. I have never heard this before. We have a network with the Shoguna's Business of Commerce, and I have not heard that echoing from them. I find it quite alarming. I mean, it is crazy." In a social media post over the weekend, okay, so they went back and say what it is. Figaro would have said again, I read that to you, and then there was an immediate response by the Shoguna's Chamber of Industry and Commerce, by the President Bernard Maharaj, who denied the claims. And also what they said, Richard Smith, the senior superintendent, he said he has no information, but he said he doesn't know everybody's business, and he can't say whether or not the criminologist is correct or incorrect. So, Papa, Yesterday, Singh said while he could not completely vouch for other areas, he was sure a devilish arrangement was not happening within his chamber. He said his chamber will soon meet with Minister in the National Security Keith Scotland to address crime in the South, including extortion, as they prepare for the Christmas into Carnival peak season. This had me confused. Didn't Mr. Singh, with all due respect, say what it is the criminologists say is crazy? So how now he is saying he cannot completely vouch for other areas, and he was sure a devilish arrangement was not happening within his chamber. So if you're saying that now, why would you say that the criminologist, what he say is crazy? You should have started off saying it ain't happening down in your chamber. Anywho's, that's just me. He called for more police patrols, both foot and mobile, in San Fernando area. Meanwhile, former police commissioner and National Transformation Alliance leader, Gary Griffith, called on Figueroa to provide a statistic to back up his claim. In a media statement, Griffith said the claims made by Figueroa could have serious repercussion, as it may inadvertently implant in the public's mind that every victim of extortion and kidnapping is somehow responsible for their situation due to alleged involvement with criminals. He said the ripple effect could be the public diminished empathy for victims, leading to a possible open season on business people and their families across the country. He said this could also lead to future victims to shy away from making reports, as reputational damage may cause them more long-term harm, further undermining the process and giving criminals an upper hand, as the TTPS cannot assist in an investigation that has not been reported. While I hear what it is Gary Griffith saying, you see how quick let us jump out to defend and talk about stigmatization. But you know, when you stigmatize the East-West corridor, as everybody from how did we talking involving criminal activity, when you have people, businessmen like Inshan Ismail saying the worst and hateful thing about people from Beetham and those areas and all that, all it doesn't find is stigmatizing all African people or in all the areas African people live in. When all they say all kind of thing about Dr. Rowley and his family, or Dr. Rowley and his mother and father, that is stigmatizing. But to this day, people will still be saying all over Facebook that the man is a rapist and a pedophile. All it doesn't realize those negative things could stigmatize people and it remain on them. So when the shoe's on one foot, you could say what you want. When it's on our next foot, it will stigmatize, and we have to be careful. Okay. So let me continue. I hope they works out. I just bring in what is written. I ain't adding, I ain't putting in. So I'm seeing TGI Friday. Prestige Holding. This was 20 hours ago in the Guardian. Prestige Holding CEO, Trinidad and Tobago, TGIF, not affected by U.S. bankruptcy claim. Prestige Holding Limited CEO Simon Hardy has given the assurance that TGI Friday operations in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean region will not be affected by the recent bankruptcy filing of the main parent company in the United States. Hardy confirmed that the financial issues facing the American parent company impacted only 39 US-based restaurants, which operated separately from the international franchise. Responding to questions from Guardian Media yesterday, Hardy said Prestige Holding Limited, which operates 4 TGI Fridays locations in Trinidad and 1 in Kingston, Jamaica, will continue business as usual. Our business remains strong and profitable, Hardy said. Hear the word profitable. We focus on bringing experiences to our guests. This remains our focus and has enabled us to succeed. On Saturday, the US-based TGI Friday chain filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, citing prolonged financial challenges, largely attributed to COVID-19 pandemic and the collapsed deal with the UK-based cost more. But the filing with the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Northern District of Texas, the company listed assets and liabilities in the range of 100 million to 500 million. According to Reuters report, Rohit Monacha, executive chairman of TGI Friday, states that the chain primary financial difficulties stem from pandemic impacts and existing capital structure. The Dallas-based company owned by Triaxon Capital Advisors has secured financing to continue operation in its corporate-owned establishment across the U.S. The main thing is this, is that TGI in America, the parent company, they filed for bankruptcy. Them in a mess. They say due to COVID-19. But the local franchises here, them say they're making profit. Them good. It have nothing to do with them. The stores in the food places in Trinidad running good, making profit, and in Jamaica. So what are we doing different here? Because we went through COVID-19 too. So they must read between the lines. How them can make and some can't make, I don't know. So when they're telling you we suffering and had them say they're making profit, who buying them thing? TGI always looking around out. Who buying the food? Who buying them thing? Oh yeah. Okay. So let me go into this one. Vasant Bharat, a man who I had a lot of respect for based on the way he spoke and this way of keeping himself above, as much as possible above the corruption and what's happening. But going back and trying camera, so I don't understand it. I don't get it. So I can't have respect there because I ain't able with that. So he lent his voice to this US dollar bacchanal. So this was 21 hours ago. Bharat claims bank holding US dollars. Former Minister in the Finance Ministry, Vasant Bharat, is blaming the current challenges in accessing foreign exchange on what he called Minister Conlembut's asinine economic policies in the last 9 years. In a scathing post to social media over the weekend, Bharat went so far as to claim that commercial banks are holding on to their US dollars in privately held accounts, waiting for the current government to demit office before making any investment decision. Describing Minister Mbut's approach to the issue as insensitive and condescending. Why every time there are some of Indian descent that you answer with affirmative, you answer with authority? All of a sudden you're condescending and you're insulting all kind of, but them could tell you what they want, say it in whatever tone they want, and you must take it about, okay, sir. Really, Vasant Bharat? Really? Right. Describing Minister Mbut's approach to the issue as insensitive and condescending, Bharat took issue with the finance minister's response to wholesalers who lamented an inability to access foreign exchange from the Exim Bank. In a media release issued on October 29, Minister Mbut said the foreign exchange window opened at Exim Bank for wholesale importers of basic goods and pharmaceuticals during the COVID-19 pandemic was a temporary initiative. How that is condescending? How is that condescending? To say, listen, what only you say enjoy with all the forex and getting whatever as wholesalers, it was only extended due to the circumstances of COVID-19. That is condescending. Vasant Bharat, drink your drink and kind of calm yourself. Like I always start to go back under camera person says and we get a whiff of Lajabless scent. Always get dotish. My opinion. But Bharat, who recently expressed his willingness to contest his seat for the United National Congress in the upcoming general election, said the foreign exchange issue had been compounded by government's failure to inspire confidence in the local market. How TGI making money? And so many others. The reason that wholesalers are knocking on the Exim Bank door is because they are unable to get foreign exchange anywhere else. In fact, according to Vice President of Guyana, Bara Jagdeo, TNT citizens now have to obtain US dollars in Guyana to pay for their Trinidad goods, Barrett argued. Barrett, who was also a former trade minister, lamented that this is now a great embarrassment to TNT. Wasn't an embarrassment to TNT when the woman is going back under the whiff to get a whiff? Say that TNT is not a ATM machine and nearly caused a whole regional bacchanal where Jamaica started to pull all the goods off the shelf and all kind of bacchanal. As when Dr. Rowley came into office, he had to run across to Jamaica to ease the thing because Jamaica is one of the largest importers of wheat goods, grist products and all that. What embarrassment, maritime embarrassment, and people still making money and people still getting US. Anywho, I'm not an expert in the area, people are giving my opinion. So let me continue. What a shame, what an absolute disgrace. I think what a shame you are, Mr. Vassenbart, and what a disgrace you are. Because Kamla Pasabi tell you, you're studying country. My money is running against she. She said, you want to study what country? Yeah? Well, go to hell. It's party before country, but apparently you're going back party instead of country because you're right under the whiff again. So use a shame and an embarrassment. You shouldn't call nobody that Vassenbart. So he said, once the king of the Caribbean, you have now reduced us to the beggars of the region. And to compound it all, our economic future under your government is pinned to all our hopes on Dragon gas in 2027 and the miracle of the TNT Revenue Authority said. In his statement, Barrett said the government has been unable to generate any foreign or local direct investment in Trinidad and Tobago within the last 9 years. He alleged that several large manufacturers are seeking more lucrative opportunities in other countries. Barrett concluded his video with a cryptic warning for Emberton. You have single-handedly imperiled this country and the quality of our lives for hundreds of thousands of citizens. The people will soon wipe that arrogant smoke off your face, he said sternly. Vassenbart, please. Why you will leave? You forget about you on the bicycle and the dog rice and all them kind of bacchanal. Why you not leave? What did they do for carny workers that they turn around and had to get on with you because you ain't give them what they did promise and all that? You was a failure as a minister. You was a failure as a minister. You had to go groveling back to Canopy Services after she embarrassed you and disgrace you. You're going right back. You could tell people why. Other UNC members also had a say on the Forex issue, but had a more solution-oriented approach. Miaro MP Rostron Paris said it was imperative that the government consider amending the Exchange Control Act to address shortcomings in the Forex distribution. This law gives the central bank the authority to manage foreign currency distribution. It states in Section 6.1 that except with the permission of the bank, no person other than the authorized dealer shall in Trinidad and Tobago buy or borrow any gold or foreign currency from or sell or lend any gold or foreign currency to any person other than the authorized dealer. Parry proposed certain amendments which he believes will improve transparency, accessibility, and fairness in forex distribution. The Miaro MP is firstly suggesting mandatory forex allocation for priority sector, which are small and medium-sized enterprises, essential importers, and sector crucial for economic diversification. Parry also believes that banks should publish quarterly reports on foreign exchange sales to increase transparency in the process. He also proposed the establishment of a central forex pool managed by the central bank, where banks contribute a percentage of their holdings, noting this could help redistribute forex based on demand priorities. Parry added that there should be a limit on the amount of forex banks can hold relative to their financial obligation to prevent excessive holding. The Miaro MP said there should also be the introduction of a forex clearing system where the central bank can intervene directly during severe shortage. This, he said, will provide a safety net ensuring that essential sectors have access to necessary forex even when commercial banks are constrained. Meanwhile, former Bataria San Juan MP Dr. Frederick believes there must be legislative changes, but also noted the impact of Foreign Investment Act. According to Dr. Khan, the Foreign Investment Act restriction deters foreign investment, current regulations requiring specific license from the President and the Ministry of Finance for US dollar transaction creates barriers for investors. who cannot freely operate without authorized dealers. This model fosters inequality, leading to potential nepotism and limited foreign currency access for business owners and individuals alike. He believes that by dismantling these policies, Trinidad and Tobago could pave the way for a more equitable access to foreign currency, promoting economic stability. Now, these are not my favorite persons, but listen to what them say in contrast to this disgrace. Here, Vassan Barrett. Here. What a shame, what an absolute disgrace. Once kings in the Caribbean, you have now reduced us to beggars of the region and to go upon it all the entire economic future under the government is spin, all the hopes and dragon gas and then he concluded, you have single-handedly imperiled this country, the quality of life of 100,000 people. People will soon wipe that arrogant smoke off your face. Yeah, that is Vassan Bharat, who wants to be, in my opinion, a leader of the UNC. Match it up to what Dr. Khan say and Paris say. Them looking at solution. He looking at being personal and getting personal. As they get a whiff. Okay, let me move on. That way I can have no respect. Nanku now. There's a next one to be. He blaming the government now for holding US. Them that just a pick up side camera put in the parliament and them feel them know everything about governance. So 20 hours ago in the Guardian, Tanko accuses government of supporting Forex cabal. Well, all of us know about cabal because we always heard about UNC cabal. We heard from Jack Warner and others. The opposition United National Congress has accused the government of having a vested interest in promoting and facilitating black market forex transaction in the country. You see, it does judge people by the things it does do. Speaking at the UNC weekly media conference in Shogunas yesterday, Member of Parliament Tanku said the government forex distribution policies are designed to enrich its financiers and friends at the expense of small and medium businesses and commonplace. Dovrinjana Tanku, you remember Steve Ferguson and Ishgal Baransing? You remember that your leader created a whole Ministry of Justice, take a judge who was sitting on the bench today, come in the party tomorrow, and form a ministry called Ministry of Justice. And the only thing they do was Section 34 that freed UNC biggest financiers, Galbransing and Steve Ferguson. Let me continue. Oh, you remember the contractors? Where right now in the EMBD case, it is alleged that in giving all the contracts and things under the PP government, there seemed to be some cartel-like type of behavior, bed rigging, etc., etc. It is alleged. And people have to hand in the defense by November the 6th this year. Let me continue. Tanko, the opposition shadow finance minister, called the businesses who he alleged were benefiting the foreign exchange cabal. Monopolies have been created simply because they can access foreign exchange, but others in the same type of industry could not. The result and effect is that prices of goods and services have increased because some importers are forced to pay black market rates, making them uncompetitive against the mega players who have access or easy access, he said. Curiously, the problem of access to foreign exchange does not seem to affect all businesses equally. Some businesses, especially the large conglomerates and their associate interests, seem to have absolutely no problem getting foreign exchange, he said. According to Tanku, the government and its favored forex businesses. I remember a time they used to talk about your government and the favorite contractors. The government and its favorite forex businesses are robbing this country of its future. He accuses Finance Minister Com Embert of repeatedly telling the country over the years that there is no foreign exchange crisis, while there clearly was. During the term of his government, micro, small, and medium business enterprises, which are greater in number than larger businesses, seem to have the greatest difficulty in getting foreign exchange from the banking sector, he said. He added that many food and medicine importers in particular have been impacted. Tanku called for the independent investigation to determine where an alleged amount of US 14 billion pumped into the system over the last 9 years has gone. And Tanku, we do also welcome investigations into where all the money gone that Makanda Laga say all the thief from the treasury as if all ever right to thief. You talking equality, right? Okay. Meanwhile, according to Wade Mark, leader of the opposition business, ordinary people cannot access small amounts of US currency from the banks. Yet several entities are able to access millions of dollars from the bank to invest in Nikon Energy Trinidad Limited. Last week, a receiver was appointed to manage the sale of Nikon assets. And that is where I will leave it for Wade Mark. So one blame central bank, one blame the government. And let's see what's happening here. I would have seen that Minister Stuart, not Minister Stuart Young, Minister Embert, he would have, no, I am not an economist, people. We commented the things just now, don't worry. Don't worry, but we just talk what is happening. Right, so I'm seeing here, that in 1 day ago in the CNC news desk, Ministry of Finance Forex window for essential imports to resume in restructured format. Minister of Finance Colin Embert has announced the Forex window at the Exim Bank for essential imports created during the COVID-19 pandemic has been resumed in a restructured format. The new window came into effect on November the 1st. The government allocation of US dollars to the Exim Bank for this essential import facility will now be US 25 million per month, a US 5 million reduction from the COVID-19 list of imports. This is considered to be adequate at this time. It should also be noted the Forex window for export manufacturers is not being adjusted and will remain. A release was sent out by the Ministry of Finance. The eligibility criteria have been revisited. The release said pandemic-related items such as hand sanitizers, face masks are no longer considered essential. The core list of essential items, which includes certain food and pharmaceuticals, will remain unchanged for now, but will be subject to periodic review to assess the need for additions or deletions. Minister Embert said the government will examine the role of local manufacturing, considering ways to make it easier for local businesses to access foreign currency needed for production. The current Forex window for export manufacturers remains the same. Embert has been teasing the idea of this change for a while. During COVID-19, we created a special window at the Exim Bank to provide US dollars, for essential imports such as food and medicine. COVID is over. We are reviewing the feasibility of that Forex window, Embert posted on X, October 27. Our Exim Bank was established to facilitate the growth and expansion of our export and manufacturing sectors, to enhance our foreign exchange earnings, and create employment through assistance to our exporting companies, and not to facilitate wholesalers of imported finished goods, he posted on X on October 29. I'll end by saying I saw a post on NewsSource page, and this is what it says. Apparently, she posted somebody making a comment. I will not call their name, but an economist, based on what she said, and I look it up, and yes, he's an economist. An economist would have responded. So this is what the person posted up on NewsSource. She posted it on her page. So this is what the person said. Bottom line is our Forex problem is pegged totally to Petrotrin closure. We could spin it how, where, and whenever we desire. You are now using exorbitant sums of US to purchase refined products in the amount of hundreds of millions every quarter. What do we feel the outcome will be? It will only get worse. The economist responded to the post and said, he called the person and he said, "It has been said before, but let me try to explain to help you understand a bit about the economics of oil refining at Petrotrin. One, the Petrotrin refinery was a loss-making venture. Note I said the refinery. The production arm, now called Heritage Petroleum, is a profitable company earning foreign exchange. Two, the refinery was unprofitable for the simple reason that it imported crude for refining and its cost of refining per barrel was among the highest in the world. Three, quite apart from its high processing costs, the refinery also had a low value product mix, meaning that more than 40% of its products cost less in the market than a barrel of crude oil. Four, in addition, Petrotrin carried a large debt burden because of loans taken to upgrade the refinery. That loan is now being repaid by profits of Heritage. Freed of the burden of the refinery, hope this helps. And I want to tell Mr. McGuire, because I looked him up, that may not help them at all. So I said, let me look up and see who this Mr. Gregory McGuire is. Because he sounds like the things I saying that I was told, you know. So I see Gregory McGuire, chair of TTEITI Steering Committee, Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Gregory McGuire is a principal consultant at VSL Consultants Limited and the chairman of the MSG of Trinidad and Tobago Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. Mr. McGuire is also a member of the Board of Governors of the Caribbean Climate Change Center and director of TOSL Engineering Limited. A graduate of the University of the West Indies, Mr. McGuire holds a bachelor's and master's degree in economics with a specialization in petrochemical economics. He is a registered commercial gas consultant and holds a diploma in natural gas industry management from Oxford College of Petroleum Studies in the field of strategy management. Mr. McGuire is a Kaplan Norton Balance Scoreboard certified graduate and certified in the lesson order. The man go right? And the man is specialized in petroleum economics. So when he talks, you can take it to the banks. I don't talk with that. Let me continue. So I am saying that this situation within the PNM continues to be played out, and one man name keeps reverberating. That's the word earlier. Over and over again. And who is this man? LeHunt. I understand LeHunt was brought in, I think, by Dr. Rowley, if I'm not mistaken. He was made, give me a minute. He was made Minister in Public Utilities. And there seemed to be some kind of issue. I think something to do with meters or waters or whatever, and some kind of dispute, whatever. And I hear the man take up all the marbles and walk. Okay. So this is Mr. LeHunt. This was 28 minutes ago. Why, with a membership of over 100,000 people in the People's National Movement, one person is being treated as the bellwether? The question was asked by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley in dismissing the contention made by former Minister Robert LeHunt that the current party officers whose terms of office are due to expire in December should not participate in the candidate selection process. And that will be in screening. He is playing senior counsel, the MP quipped in an interview with the Express last week. He added, "Let me just say something. I have been in the PNM for almost 50 years, and that does not give me any special status as a member, but it does give me a view of the landscape and an experience in the organization. If the party, by the competent authority, the General Council, which is the highest decision maker outside the convention, takes the position that this is an election year and it would not hold internal party election. What is the issue, or what is the issue with that? It does not put the PNM democratically in any jeopardy. It puts the PNM in a position, if I may use the word electorally, to keep its powder dry, its option open, and the road clear towards a national election. To view that the original decision of the leadership to postpone the election has not been properly made or was not in keeping with the party's constitution since the announcement about the postponement was made to the public preceding the ratification by the General Council. The Prime Minister said that as Prime Minister and head of the cabinet, which meets every Thursday, he is called up many times to approve actions within the government system, which then goes to cabinet for final approval or ratification. I signed many cabinet notes, put my signature on it, approved, knowing that the approval will have to go before the cabinet, and the cabinet will be told what action told that action on such and such day was required, and that the Prime Minister, in the country's interest, I approve the action to go forward. Sometimes a permanent secretary may have done something, a minister in a ministry, and you look at what was done. When it comes to ratification, if you don't ratify it, then the action remains unauthorized, he said, adding, ratification takes place every day in this country because decisions sometimes come up so suddenly that to not approve, subject to ratification, is to allow a situation to develop which could have dire consequences. And to avoid that, an authority does something pending ratification. Rowley stressed that at the end of the process to postpone the internal election for the General Council ratified. Rowley stressed that at the end of the process to postpone the internal elections, the General Council ratified the decision by 76 votes in favor, 1 against, and 4 abstentions. He said it was nonsense, therefore, to make an issue of the fact that one person did not agree with the decision. That is democracy, he said. He added that the PNM General Council is a place where people distill their views, bring their complaints, and sometimes it is very emotive. The party listens, embeds, and takes decisions, he added. When the decision to postpone internal elections was taken, as a matter of fact, many people are looking at the possibility of a December 2024 election. A general election requires cohesion. While a party election can be divisive, the PNM has a serious leadership. We didn't survive as a party for 60 odd years just by listening to the likes of some commentators and 1 or 2 disgruntled party members who believe that their personal opportunities might be affected, he said. He also pointed out that when he talked to the members of the PNM leadership about the postponement of the internal elections, there was no dissenting voices. Asked whether he regretted some of the constitutional changes made to the PNM constitutions, such as the removal of the political leaders' veto over candidates, Rowley said, no. As a matter of fact, I am now more convinced that those were good decisions. The political leader is still the chairman of the screening committee. And if as chairman I can carry along my members, if need be, then maybe I should not carry them there. If you are going to be a successful party and a successful leader, you have to be able to deal with all these situations. So I have no regrets. I am quite happy that we reduced the term of the political leader from 5 years to 4 years, because it gives an opportunity in a shorter time frame to evaluate and decide whether it's go, it's down. I am happy that the 1 man, 1 vote was introduced. Those are deep democratic arrangements in the PNM Constitution. He said editorial writers always try to equate the PNM with the UNC, but he said the UNC had no convention, no election, and they had no officers in place beyond their term limits for months. We know we are held to a higher standard, and we do rise to a higher standard all the time. And the fact will bear that out. But this is the season where everybody figures they get their 2 cents in and the 50 minutes of fame, as is happening, he said. So that is Dr. Rowley there responding to Mr. Lee Hunt, who continue with whoever else to say that something was fundamentally wrong when Dr. Rowley would have postponed the internal elections of the PNM. And I believe in process. You may not like the outcome of a process, but once a process has been followed, I support that the end result. And if the process was followed in Dr. Rowley as the political leader of the PNM, under the Constitution has the authority to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that was done. And then to ratify that decision, the General Council says he want to make that decision nay or nay by votes, and that was done. If the outcome of that is no internal election or full internal election, I don't understand why it is continuing. It seems to me as people have agendas. So nothing is wrong in having an agenda because everybody has agendas, but your agenda must not be to the detriment of thousands just to facilitate you. That's just my idea about it. So when Dr. Rowley spoke about the PNM and being held to a higher standard, I said, this is where we're going to school now. We're going to political school now. So I came in my tie. Red was the only one I had, right? And a white shirt. So let me go in some political school here. So that when we finish here, everything I do is for you all to be able to make an informed decision one way or the next. I prefer a People's National Movement government over this, especially this particular UNC, any day, anytime, any hour, despite whatever challenges the People's National may have. Because a People's National Movement or a political party or anything that has people in it, involved in it, you will always have issues because nobody's perfect. So you can't expect an organization that has people in it that is going to be perfect. Will there be disagreements? Of course there will be. But the issue to me is how you treat with those disagreements. And it comes right back again to a procedures that you may have within the party to deal with those issues, right? So I was looking at the definition of organization because, political parties are basically organizations, so it's core-based. So it says organization, an organized group of people with a particular purpose, such as a business or a government department, right? So the quality of being systematic and efficient. So that is what it is about, organizing people with a mission and one ideology, one thinking and all that. So let me continue. So I would have seen, I say, you know what? Let me take a look at the political history of the UNC coming straight down from its inception, because they have had different reincarnations of the UNC. Don't let them tell you any different. So I said, let me look at this. And people, this is serious thing. Some people might find that this doesn't matter, but it does, because it gives you an understanding of how we reach here, who we are, and where we would go. So I said, let me look at the history of the DLP, which was the Democratic Labour Party. And the Democratic Labour Party was the main opposition party in Trinidad and Tobago from 1957 till 1976. The party was a party which opposed the People's National Movement at the time of independence. After several splits, brought about by leadership struggles, the party lost its hold on the Indo-Trinidadian community in the 1976 general election and was, excuse me, and was displaced in parliament by the United Labour Front under the leadership of Basio Pandey, a former DLP senator. The party was the representative of the ethnic Indian community in the country. However, Indian, Muslim, and Christians were said to be less loyal to the party than the Indian Hindus. So let me look at the independence era. In 1961, it saw the introduction of the Representative of the People's Act, which modernized the electoral process by instituting identification cards, voting machines, and altered the way in which constituencies were laid out. The DLP viewed this as an attempt to disenfranchise Indo-Trinidadian voters. Indo-Trinidadians were less educated and suspicious of authorities. The DLP claimed that the Indo-Trinidadian would be less likely to register and might be intimidated by complicated voting machines. They also accused the PNM of gerrymandering the constituency to maximize the impact of PNM supporters and minimize the impact of DLP supporters. Consequently, in 1961 general election campaign was extremely tense and racially polarized. The DLP alleged that the voting machines were rigged. These allegations found support when initial returns showed PNM candidate A.N.R. Robinson receiving more votes than there was registered electors in his constituency. Excuse me. The PNM secured a two-thirds majority, 20 of 30 seats. In Parliament, the DLP won the remaining 10 seats. When the Federation was dissolved in 1961, following the withdrawal of Jamaica, this majority allowed the PNM to write the independence constitution without input from DLP. In response to allegations of voting irregularities, the DLP boycotted the opening of Parliament and operated largely through boycotts and walkouts. Does it sound familiar? In 1963, Lieutenant Capildeo accepted a permanent position at the University of London and attempted to run the DLP and serve as leader of the opposition while based in London. He was able to retain his seat in Parliament through special dispensation from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Arnold Thomasas. In March of that year, Capildo gave the new party a new creed, democratic socialism. This action, coupled with Capildeo's absentee rulership, led to a revolt in the party executive, and this resulted in the appointment of Stephen Kapondio Maharaj, a former Butler Party minister, as leader of the opposition, while Capildeo retained the post of party leader. When the executive tried to replace Capildeo with Maharaj as party leader, Capildeo dismissed the executive. In response to this, on the 13th of January 1964, three MPs, Montgomery Forrester, Peter Farquhar, and Tajmul Hossain, resigned from the party and formed the Liberal Party. Demise of that party. Aloy Laquai ousted Jamada as party leader in 1972. This led to Vernon Jamada breaking off and forming the Social Democratic Labour Party, SDLP of Trinidad and Tobago. I remember that party. The Rump DLP then merged with the remnants of the Liberal Party and renamed itself the United Democratic Labour Party, now led by Simbonat Capildeo. Another faction led by Ashford Sinanan emerged and called itself the West Indian National Party, WINP. None of the successor party won any seats in the 1976 general election. The new United Labour Front, led by Basio Pandey, was able to totally displace the DLP from its core Indo-Trinidadian constituency. Jamada and Liquai both contested the superior constituency amongst 8 candidates, but was soundly beaten by the ULF Rafiq Shah. That spelled the end of their political career. Basio Pandey later led the people who supported the party into the National Alliance for Reconstruction, which brought Indo-Trinidadians into power as part of a multiracial coalition. Then he finally led them into power as the dominant faction in the United National Congress. government between 1995 2001, which won power again in 2010 to 15 under Kamla Persaud-Bissessar. None of the principals of the DLP played a significant role in party politics after the demise of the party. Simbonat Kapildeo and Vernon Jamadar returned to their respective legal practices. Satanayan Maharaj took over control of the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha after the death of his father-in-law Badis Sagan Maharaj in 1971. Aloy Likwai went on to play a distinguished role as president and CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, from which he retired in 2015. There's some political history there at DLP. Let me tell you, ULF now. The United Labour Front, ULF, was a labourist political party in Trinidad and Tobago and the main opposition party between 1976 and 1986. It was a successor to the Democratic Labour Party and the Workers' and Farmers' Party. The party was established in 1975 by union leaders in an attempt to unify the mainly black workers in the oil industry and mainly Indian workers in the sugar plantation. However, that was not achieved successfully, and the party was labeled communist by opponents and alienated key potential voters. Despite this setback, the party received 27.2% of the votes in 1976 election, winning 10 of the 36 seats and becoming the main opposition to the People's National Movement. It saw most of its success amongst Indian voters, and despite its intention to become a multiracial party, effectively became the successor to the Democratic Labour Party. Having started with a collective leadership, the party eventually coalesced around Basio Pandey. In the 1981 election, the party joined with the Democratic Action Congress and the Tapia House movement to form the Trinidad and Tobago National Alliance. However, its vote share fell to 15.2%, falling behind the Organizations for National Reconstruction and losing 2 of its 10 seats. The DAC won 2 and Tapia movement none. Prior to 1986 election, it merged into the newly established National Alliance for Reconstruction, which won the election. People, I give it all as I get it. My head spinning with the amount of reincarnations. So we go now to the UNC. The United National Congress is one of the 2 major political parties in Trinidad and Tobago and the current parliamentary opposition. The UNC is a center-left party. It was founded in 1989 by Basio Pandey, a Trinidadian lawyer, economist, trade unionist, and actor, after a split in the ruling National Alliance for Reconstruction, NAR. After spending 6 years in opposition, the UNC won control of the government in 1995, initially in coalition with the NAR and later on its own. In 2000 general election, the UNC won an absolute majority in the parliament. In 2001, a split in the party caused the UNC to lose its parliamentary majority and control of the government. From 2001 to 2010, the UNC was once again a parliamentary opposition party, and in May 2010, the UNC returned to government as a majority party in the People's Partnership. The UNC political leader Kamla Persaud-Bissessar was sworn in as the first female Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla Persaud-Bissessar was Prime Minister from 2010 to 2015. And the party's symbol is the rising sun above the Trinity Hill. Historically, the UNC has been supported by a majority of Indo-Trinidadians and Tobagonians, especially Hindu, Trinidadian, and Tobagonians. Thus, it is colloquially called the Indian Party or the Hindu Party. The spiritual Baptists and other racial and religious minorities of the country also supported the party. In opposition since 2015 general election, the party holds 19 of the 41 members of parliament in the House of Representatives and 6 out of 31 members on the Senate, as mandated by the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago to the official parliamentary opposition. The party has 67 out of 139 local councillors and is in control of 7 of the 14 regional corporations since 2019. Since the 2019 local election, the party has no representation in the Tobago House of Assembly. I continue the NAR. I read as far reason and order. National Alliance for Reconstruction. The National Alliance for Reconstruction, NAR, was the governing party in Trinidad and Tobago between 1986 and 1991. The party has been inactive since 2005. History. The party was established in 1986, aiming to be a multiracial party. It was formed by former People's National Movement member and opposition parties, including the Organization for National Reconstruction, a party established by PNM dissident Carl Hudson Phillip in 1980, the United Labour Front, the Democratic Action Congress, and the Tapia House Movement. The latter three having previously been part of an electoral pact known as the National Alliance. The new party won the 1986 election, taking around 66% of the national vote. For the first time, the PNM had failed to win over 50% since 1956, and winning 33 out of the 36 seats in the Trinidad and Tobago. Anna Robinson, previously leader of the DSA, became the Prime Minister. The NAR entered government with broad national support and goodwill, but support declined as fiscal austerity and neoliberal economic policies imposed by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, structural adjustment program resulted in increased unemployment and a 10% cut in salaries in public service. In fighting over government posts and economic policies split the party, and some ministers defected after a single year in power. In 1988, former ULF leader Bazir Pandey was expelled, taking with him 5 other former ULF members to form the United National Congress. Subsequently, a further 5 MPs defected to become independent. In 1990, the Jamaat al-Muslimin attempted to capitalize on the dissatisfaction with an attempted coup. Despite surviving the attempted coup, the NAR was defeated in the 1991 general election, winning only 2 seats, both in Tobago. Following the defeat, Robinson resigned as party leader, and several other prominent NAR members retired, leaving the NAR severely weakened. In 1992 local election, the NAR suffered another humiliating defeat, failing to win a single seat. The NAR did, however, retain its dominance in Tobago House of Assembly, winning 11 of the 12 seats in 1992 election. The party went through rapid leadership changes. Former Works Minister Carson Charles served as leader in 1992 until 1993. He was replaced by former Finance Minister Selby Wilson. Charles left the NAR and formed his own group, the National Development Party, and in 1994 by election, an attempt was made to have NAR and its two daughters partners, the UNC and the NDP, run a joint platform. However, the proposal failed to come to fruition. The UNC was adopting a policy of attracting NAR voters directly from attempting another formal alliance. And following his failure to reunite the party, Wilson resigned as the NAR, and the NAR was leaderless until just prior to the 1995 election. During this period, NAR chairman Robert Myers served as the de facto leader. When elections were called in 1995, Robinson was persuaded to return and resume leadership of the party. People, and it goes on and on. But I'm reading it for a reason. I'm reading it for a reason because I want to always understand the political history in this country with all them set of parties and then. In the elections, the party retained its 2 Tobago seats but failed to win any in Trinidad. However, it joined the UNC-led coalition and returned to government. Robinson was appointed Minister Extraordinaire and was elected president in 1997. Former Speaker of the House, Nizam Mohammed, replaced him as NAR leader. However, the NAR continued to weaken and fracture. Its bargaining position was reduced when 2 PNM MP defected and joined the government as independents. In the 1996 Tobago elections, an NAR Assemblywoman, Deborah Moore Miggins, contested as an independent and won. Although the party won 10 of the 12 seats, however, two other NAR assemblymen later defected and joined her in bringing in the People Empowerment Party. During the 1996 local elections, the NAR contested around a third of the 124 seats, while the UNC contested the remaining two-thirds. Most of the seats contested by the NAR, however, were PNM strongholds, where the NAR had little support. Even in places like Arima, where the NAR could potentially have won, independent candidates split the vote, leading to PNM victories. The NAR won no seats and accused the UNC of supporting the independents, deliberately preventing the NAR from regaining representation in Trinidad. Further problems for the party from its two MPs, Morgan Job, who had taken over Robinson's seat, frequently sided with the UNC against the NAR leadership, whilst the other was increasingly friendly with the PEP and eventually became an independent. The party subsequently withdrew from the government. Mohammed did not seek re-election, and former Attorney General Anthony Smart became the new NAR leader in 1999. In 2000 elections, the party was reduced to a single seat. The following year, the party lost the Tobago House of Assembly election, defeated by the PNM. Early national elections were also held in 2001, which saw the NAR lost its single seat. In another early election the following year, the party increased its vote share to 1.1% but failed to regain a seat. The NAR suffered a further blow in 2004 when a portion of the Tobago wing of the party, led by Ho Choi Charles, split away from the NAR and reformed the DAC, reducing the NAR to 2 seats. In the 2005 Tobago elections, it received just 113 votes and lost both. People, let me look at the COP. Congress of the People, Trinidad and Tobago. The Congress of the People is a political party in Trinidad and Tobago. Its current political leader is Kurt Sinnett. Its symbol is a circle of circles. History. The party was formed on 10th of September 2006 by Winston Ducaran. Then the embattled political leader of the United National Congress announced at a rally that he was leaving the UNC and forming a new party. Ducaran and his supporters had been engaged in internal party feuding with the UNC executive, which was loyalty to party founder, then chairman and former leader Bazio Pandey. Ducaran was soon joined by UNC MP Ganga Singh, who became the party whip, and Manohar Ramsaran. The two independent MPs who had previously left the UNC, Jaden Lucky and Gerald Yetming, also joined the new party. Former UNC Senators Robin Montano, Roy Augustin, Karen Sipasad Bechan, and Sadiq Bash also joined. Additionally, the entire constituency executive of Chaguanas and San Fernando West also quit the UNC. The support for Ducaran served as a catalyst for the formation of the new movement. After the internal election of the United National Congress, Ducaran, accompanied by then Senator Sadiq Bash, began meeting with the members and supporters of the UNC. It was during these meetings that many people involved with Ducaran's campaign, and he began working with the Tabakit constituency, promoting the concept of new politics. Hundreds of supporters working with grassroots members of the Tabakit constituency worked to develop a strategic plan document which detailed numerous strategies to address the social and economic needs of the people of the constituency. This plan was submitted to Ducaran, who later adopted its recommendation and suggested that similar plans be developed for 41 constituency. On a morning edition program in November 2005, a supporter of Ducaran announced that the new members and supporters of the Tabakit UNC party group, number 2355, had shown their support behind Ducaran and called on then Member of Parliament Dr. Adish Nanan to support the duly elected political leader of the UNC. Oh Lord Father. This was the beginning of the work that led to the groundswell of support for the UNC political leader and later became the strongest support base for Dukaran and the new politics. In 23rd of July 2006, a supporter interrupted the proceeding at the Hindu Credit Union Convention Center and read aloud what later became known as the Freeport Declaration, calling on Dukaran to leave the UNC and follow the desire of the thousands gathered towards the formation of a new political vehicle. Oh Jesus, oh Jesus. All you see the amount of reincarnation and the mixing and who mixed there and who mixed there and all that. Isn't that something like chaos and background confusion? 1 minute together, they form coalition, they have decree, they read commitment, they break up, they form an next party, so then they come back. They went with 2, so then 2 fall out, 3 comes and join the next one, then they come back, UNC thing, and then they go back DAC thing, then they go back DLP first. Them only just read this. It's important only understand this. All I understand is we went to school today. Today is not background confusion. Today we in school. Today we in school. This is some history about Trinidad and coming into PNM history. Trinidad was formerly ceded to Britain in 1802. Under British rule, Trinidad development as a sugar colony continued. Although in 1806 to 7, the slave trade was completely prohibited. Slavery was abolished in 2 stages between 1834 and 1838. And the sugarcane planters were unable to secure the steady, tractable, and cheap labor they wanted. In 1845, the emigration of indentured workers from the Indian subcontinent began. It continued until 1917. As early as 1870, about 1/4 of the total population consisted of Indo-Trinidadians. The original Trinidadian indigenous inhabitants had by then virtually disappeared. Other immigrants came to Trinidad after 1838 from the smaller British colonies, Caribbean colonies, Africa, as free settlers rescued from foreign slave ships. The Madeira Islands, China, Syria, Lebanon, Venezuela, and the United Kingdom. Trinidad population became one of the most heterogeneous in the Caribbean. Let me continue. Unlike most of the other British West Indian colonies, including Tobago, Trinidad was never granted a bicameral legislature with an elected assembly. Instead, it was governed by a crown colony with a governor, and from 1831, a legislative council consisting of top officials and so-called unofficial members nominated by the governor. The constitution of the crown colony underwent no significant modification until 1925. During the British colonial period, many activists sought to change the constitution to allow the inclusion of some elected members on the Trinidad and Tobago Legislative Council. In 1925, a constitutional reform did that, adding 7 elected members. Further agitation, especially in island-wide series of strikes and riots in 1937 under Grenadian-born Labour leader Uriah Butler, led to the grant of universal suffrage in 1945 and other constitutional reforms that provided for a measure of self-governance. For about 10 years after universal suffrage, politics in the colony were characterized by individualism and confusion. What is individualism? A doctrine that the interests of the individual are or ought to be ethically paramount. Also, conduct guided by such a doctrine. The concept that all values, rights, and duties originate in individuals. A theory maintaining the political and economic independence of the individual and stressing individual initiative, action, and interest. Also, conduct or practice guided by such a theory. So, the situation we had in Trinidad at that time, it was It was for about 10 years after universal suffrage, politics in the colony was characterized by individualism and the confusion. But in 1956, the People's National Movement won a victory at the polls and formed the first party-based cabinet government under the PNM founder and leader, Dr. Eric Williams. Trinidad and Tobago attained independence in 1962 and became a republic within the Commonwealth in 1976. Let me read over this part again. In 1925, a constitutional reform did that. That is changing the constitution and allowing for inclusion of some elected members in the Trinidad and Tobago Legislative Council, right? So when that happened, there was strikes and the Butler riots and all that under Grenadian-born labor leader Uriah Butler, and it led to the grant of universal suffrage, meaning that we could all vote in 1945, because before that in Trinidad, if you didn't have land and have property, you couldn't vote, and women could not vote, right? So all that would have changed with the riots and the strikes and all that island-wide that was carried out by Grenadian-born Uriah Butler in the oil sector. So then they reformed the Constitution, and the Constitution reform provided for a measure of self-governance. But for about 10 years after universal suffrage, politics in Trinidad was characterized by individualism and confusion. But in 1956, the People's National Movement won a victory at the polls and formed the first party-based cabinet government under the PNM founder and leader, Dr. Eric Williams. Trinidad and Tobago attained independence in 1962 and then became a republic in the Commonwealth in 1976. The PNM won 6 consecutive elections and held power from 1956 to 1986. This continuity and stability in government were accompanied by economic problems and social unrest, which broke out in widespread disturbances in 1970-71. The oil boom in 1973-81 brought sudden prosperity to most sectors of the population, and Trinidad and Tobago entered a period of rapid development and industrialization. A substantial state sector and fairly comprehensive social welfare programs were created from the petroleum profits, while the private sector expanded rapidly. A collapse in oil prices, along with the PNM failure to win support from most Indo-Trinidadians and deep-seated corruption, led to a marked decline of the party's popularity after 1981, the year of Williams' death. Right? The PNM government of 1991-95 continued most of the economic and social policies inaugurated by its NAR predecessors. And remember, the NAR had a lot of structural adjustment program based on the fact that we were in the hands of the IMF. So in 1991 to 95, that is where the PNM met, and it continued the economic and social policies inaugurated by its NAR predecessors. In 1995, Prime Minister called an early election. The result was a tie between PNM and the main opposition party, the United National Congress, which was supported chiefly by Indo-Trinidadians. The 2 Tobago seats went to the NAR led by Robinson, and the latter gave his support to the UNC, whose leader, Basil Pandey, thus became Prime Minister. Pandey was the first Indo-Trinidadian Prime Minister, and his government was the first in Trinidad and Tobago to be controlled by a party whose electoral base was the Indo-Trinidadian population. After leaving office, Pandey was charged in 2002 with having failed to declare his assets of the Parliamentary Integrity Commission, right? Let me go to something else here quickly. It's important that we understand the history and why the PNM is held to a different standard. The People's National Movement is the longest serving and oldest active political party in Trinidad and Tobago. The party has dominated national and local policies of much of Trinidad and Tobago's history, contesting all elections since 1956 serving as the nation's governing party, or on 4 occasions, the main opposition, is one of, let me read that again. The party has dominated national and local politics for much of Trinidad and Tobago's history, contesting all elections since 1956, serving as the nation's governing party, or on 4 occasions, the main opposition. It is one of the country's 2 main political parties. There have been 4 PNM prime ministers and multiple ministries. The party espouses the principles of liberalism and generally sits at the center to center left of the political spectrum. Right? In 1961 general election, the PNM won 20 of the 30 seats with 58% of the vote. With the collapse of the West Indian Federation, the PNM led Trinidad and Tobago to independence on 31st August 1962. In 1966 general election, the PNM won 24 of 36 seats with 52% of the vote. However, economic and social discontent grew under PNM rule. This came to a climax in April 1970 with the Black Power Revolution, and on the 13th of April, PNM Deputy Leader and Minister of External Affairs, A.N.R. Robinson, resigned from the party and government. And on the 20th of April, facing revolt by a portion of the army in collusion with the growing Black Power movement, Williams declared a state of emergency. By 22nd of April, the mutineers had begun negotiation for surrender. Following this, certain ministers were forced to resign, including John O'Halloran, Minister of Industry, and Gerald Montano, Ministry of Home Affairs. In 1971 general election, the PNM faced only limited opposition as the major opposition party boycotted the election, citing the use of voting machines. The PNM captured 36 seats in the election, including 8 that they carried unopposed. Additionally, Williams split the post of deputy leaders into 3 and appointed Kamaluddin Mohammed, Errol Mahabir, and George Chambers to the positions. In 1972, J.R.F. Richardson crossed the floor and declared himself an independent. He was subsequently appointed leader of the opposition. He was soon joined by another MP, Dr. Horace Charles. By 1973, the PNM faced a major crisis, and on the 28th of September, Williams announced that he would not stand for re-election. This led to a race to succeed him as political leader of the party, and by the 18th of November, 250 of the 476 registered party groups had submitted nomination, 224 of them for Attorney General Carl Hudson Phillip and 26 for Minister of Health Kamaluddin Mohammed. Williams announced on the 2nd of December that he would return as political leader, and Hudson Phillip was forced out of the party. The reason why I read this is to show that good times, bad times, crises, profitable times, cross the floor times, convulsion within the PNM times, fracture within the PNM times, it has always remained the people's national movement. They said before the coming of the People's National Movement in Trinidad, the politics was really one of individualism and confusion. The PNM would have brought structure to Trinidad and Tobago. And I would say the PNM is by no means a perfect party, but it has shown during the time from 1956, anybody could go and research this, It has shown to be a steady party despite its imperfections. The UNC, on the other hand, has shown itself to be reincarnation of different parties joining, falling apart, coming together, fall apart, have a accord, fall apart, this one going, so the chaos and confusion. And Rodney Child said it. The opposite of the People's National Movement is chaos, mayhem, and bacchanal. And it has been shown during the ages. DLP, SDLP, Club 88, Workers Union, ULF, UNC, PP, NAR, DSC, And it keeps going from one to the next to the next. It's a state of continued uncertainty. So I'm asking you all today, despite all that we hear is happening now in the People's National Movement, because I show you in history those things happened before, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. Dr. Eric Williams would have said he coming out of politics, he done that. And people start in the background, start to activate and get on ting, 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 ting. And he just come back and he say he continue. Dr. Rowley said in Parliament, they say he swan song he was singing whatever, and all kind of shenanigans start to happen and ting and whatever and whatever. Nothing new. There has always been issues amongst persons in the People's National Movement because people, national movement of the people. But I'm going to ask you, will you all allow what we see happening now in the PNM, because as I show you history, nothing new. But the PNM as an institution, the PNM has a structure and a foundation. And like all other foundations, after years and years of a foundation, sometimes you will get cracks in the foundation. And what you do, you fix the cracks. Not just patch it, but you fix it. You strengthen it back. It happens. But in the UNC and DAC and DLP and SDLP and ULF and Club 88 and all that, as them get a crack, the whole foundation does fall apart. And where does that leave their supporters and leave Trinidad and Tobago? So I'm asking you all again today, would you all prefer a steady party, a stable party that took us out of confusion after we had gotten adult suffrage? 10 years after adult suffrage and people voting was mayhem and confusion. It was about me. And when the PNM was formed, it was about we, about us, no matter India, no matter China, no matter Africa, no matter Syria. It's Mother Trinidad and Tobago. Are they perfect? No. Was the PNM name not called with corruption? Of course not. It's human beings. We heard O'Halloran had preferred. This all kind of thing about Calderhat, they never bring no charges towards Calderhat. He was right there. He built the things he was going to build. We see the things he built. Has there not been under, during Dr. Eric Williams' time with the oil boom, could they have saved more? Probably yes. Could they have done more? They could always do more. Under Mr. Manning, could he have done more? They could always do more. Would he have made some bad decision? It's humans at the end of the day. Under George Chambers, who they call Dunsey, who was a very brilliant, quiet, simple man. Not simple in the sense of simplicity, but education-wise and all that, and he came across as a very humble man. Were there mistakes made? May have been. I wasn't involved in those things at those times. I don't know. Yeah? Coming to Mr. Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. Could he have done this? Of course he could. Could he have done that? Of course he could. But at the end of the day, he had a stack of cards that he worked with. When he came in 2015, we had a central bank governor who, under the PP government, a UNC, form another coalition with all kind of party, win the election, build everybody hopes. Under them, they had the highest oil prices ever. They had the highest oil prices ever. Even from under Dr. Eric Williams' time, highest oil prices ever. They had the largest mandate in cabinet. Well, they understand what I say, Kamla Persad-Bissessar came in on a high. I didn't vote for her. However, a large percentage of the population did. They believed in all these small parties that came together that this is going to be something fantastic, beautiful. First woman prime minister, Indian prime minister. It was like a romance story. Jack Warner and them built her up. Them were the queen makers. They built this like it was like Hollywood. And people bought into it, which is their right. They choose whoever they want to. But the PPUNC got a big mandate, 29 seats. PNM was reduced to a 12-seater maxi. going on the corner with only 12. Dr. Rowley became the opposition leader. Kamla Pasabi Sessa and the PP government and all of them, they could have made legislation and changed the laws, all the laws when Nanku and them talking about and Paré and this one talking about. The UNC was there, the PP government was there with 29 seats. They didn't need a special majority. They could have changed laws and legislation to ease up the citizens of this country. They could have done it. But every day you hold corruption and this and corruption and bacchanal, who touched the titties, who didn't touch the titties, who had to go and they go to try to get help, had to do blowjob, who had to do this and allegation and this. And that is what we heard for 5 years. We heard about spending money as if they invented as the right to thief. They eat out NGC, they went in places to get money that they don't normally get money to think. They wasn't getting no loans outside, they were taking money directly from the treasury to fund the projects. Changing contracts for oil giants that they don't have to pay with no money in taxes, dropping the oil taxes down to 18% and corporate taxes so them can make money, do what they want, and them are just living and eating and flying all over the place. They could have done so much. We had live sport, which was a good idea, good concept. It turned out to be a death trap. We see it happening. We see all these things happening. I'm saying this to say to all you at the end of the day. All the things I said here today, they're talking about, I want to make a joke with depending on the dragon. What we supposed to look, that's future. Because the oil, we're not getting that amount of crude oil from all the ground again. Where we could refine and make no big profit is not enough. So that they take money to buy from the outside to bring here and then refine it and then after try to sell it back. The refinery not making money. It wasn't making money. The economist, Mr. Maguire, explained to the guy who didn't understand what is happening. I think it's downstream you call it, was the exploration and production, which is heritage. Guys were making the money. Them dealing in gas, them dealing in the petrochemical industry, that making the money, refinery making the money. We were getting somebody to come to take over the refinery with their own money and start up this mudball thing here, because now with it down there so long, you have to, even before it had closed down, you have to maintain it. Now it is so long, it has to be maintained, money to maintain that, to bring it back to standard. You have to do new technology now. The country ain't going to use the money to do that, to use our tax money to do that. Investors are going to do that. They're running the people. They run them. Anze Roger cannot run nothing. He was in Petrotrin. He knew in Petrotrin that Petrotrin paying out salaries and recurring expenditure 55 point something % higher than all other world-known refineries in the world. When them paying 30-something % in salaries and all that. Petrotrin was paying over 50-something %. Roger was there enjoying that. They had more people working and doing what we don't know. They knew what was happening in Petrotrin, and this man coming out now and all them talking about Petrotrin is the reason why it closed down, is because the reason that Forex exchange and all them shippings. Petrotrin wasn't making no money. We see now, but they don't want to admit it, because if they admit it, it means to say as a union, all they was there and all they should have known, because all the union people was working there. So they don't want to take no responsibility. So they only keep saying, they close on Petrotrin, they promised not to close on Petrotrin, and Petrotrin was making money. Of course it was making money, but was the money a profit? If I'm in a business and all I'm doing is breaking even, better close down. If I put out $5, and every day $5 I'm making back, of course I make money. I make back my money, but I make no profit. If I pay not $5, when I finish for the day, I'm supposed to make back $10. So that $10 is my profit, because I make back my principal money that I put out. So I will take that $5 again, reinvest it again. And probably next time I make $15. I save that, so the next time I might invest now $10 in it, because I don't make a profit so already. That business, and me no big business, someone no economist. The point I'm making is this, people. All you have a choice to make 2025. Are you all going to allow these happenings in the PLM right now, Well, it's happened over the years. It's not the first, second, or third time. It has happened before, right? Are you all going to let that distract you all from the assignment for 2025 and allow a UNC government who we see has always changed its form and shape and has never stayed together? It's always confusion, chaos, and bacchanal. They said since up in the 50s, they said it there. Before the PNM was confusion in this country, confusion and bacchanal in this country. And when the PNM came into office in 1956, won the election, it had stability. PNM is always the one, or let us run back to when all they go and put all the finger and vote for other people and they put the country in a mess, or let us run back for the PNM to stable this country. So why now, when we're going to be going into good times now, all we're going to allow the party, or let us run back to stabilize the country, be there to make sure things remain stable? Why are they doing that? All they run to the NAR. The NAR took it to IMF. Structural adjustment program in backside, they take away public officers' money. Is a public officer named Bernadette Hood, who would have taken the NAR government, the state to court through PSA and win back the money. Where the case has been said, our money is like with property. Just like how a house is your property, your land, people can just come on it. No government, no state could interfere with we money. That is we property. Landmark case was won when NAR take away public officers' money by a nurse who stood up against the state through the PSA and would have won that matter on our behalf. Why they can't take and jump in with money just and just take with money just so because we property. Or they want to go back to them time because all they went to NAR, you know, who they joined at UNC and this and you were left and all kind of thing. And then last as long as the Red House fire. And when them fall apart, all they vote back PNM again. PNM try to stable back this country. And when they get back stable again, wherever it is, all they going back again UNC. With Pandy. Disaster. Piaco International Airport, the biggest massive corruption ever in this country. And all kind of other things came out of that. And then when they done, all they put back the PNM to steady back the thing. And then all they come and put Kamala beside the SESA and the PP government because they sell all their dream. And they came in when things was nice. Biggest mandate. And all they can wait for 2015 to vote. Or they vote them out again. Bring back the PNM to steady the ship. And when the PNM come to steady the ship, they meet a recession. Joala Rambaran tell we have been in a recession, 2 or 3 quarters, a recession since 2015. The government tried to steady back. And bam, nobody gets sent home. No public officer gets sent home. The 14%, the highest percentage ever settled with a union or government. We was happy for it. Kamala Persad left that there because she know very well if she even win back, she couldn't pay that. Because by that time, oil prices don't collapse and going down already, and there was in a recession. So she know they couldn't pay that. Just like how, just a couple of days before the elections of 2015, she removed the clause from a contract and let OAS be able to take back the $1 billion they put on in bond. So they was putting things in order for people to get money and how to pay. In come the government with a recession, with a 14% increase to pay that was signed off by the former government, Kamala and them. They didn't say they can't pay it. You know. They didn't say they wouldn't pay it. You know. They borrow money and pay it. They didn't borrow from the IMF. They borrow money and they pay it off. Public officers, I guess, sent home. And then bam, when they're looking to get itself in order again, COVID-19 that hit the world, a pandemic. And we saw what happened with that. Public officers like myself and others, we was home. The only thing I was doing when Mountain come run long to the grocery, use the ATM and buy something we can fly back home. You didn't have nowhere to go, no work to go, your shoes get dry rot, you get fat, you can't fit in your clothes, you was just home, watching TV and praying. When you get a chance, you run somewhere, buy something, you can fly back home. For a year or more, public officers were staying home. You know what's how they working? The essential workers. Doctors, nurses, ward maids, drivers, ambulance drivers, cleaners, police, fire service, soldier, coast guard. Them was how they working. While we was at home, drawing with salary, nobody ain't get sent home. So I want to ask all again, all they going to study the little rumblings that have in the People's National Movement and use that to say, we ain't voting the PNN? Or they're going to use the lies and propaganda and misinformation, disinformation being spread by the UNC, but this country hard and bad and we suffering. Where you're not seeing that on the ground, you're not really seeing that and you're not telling it the truth. I am telling you, the young people buying cars straight out of the showroom. I'm telling you, they go to buy the car, the series, and even coming that or wait till it come because it's selling like if it's bread from the showroom. Businesses making money. Well, I see one business lose some money, and I say it's a nice thing because it's angosturate me to say less people drinking and anything to help prevent alcoholism and all that. I all for that. So I see Angostura or one of them, whatever, lost money. That translates to me that people ain't drinking so much again, which is a good thing to me. But other than that, companies making money. Visitors coming here. We's number 10 in the world to visit. We seen all the development, look, Labre, whatever was building down there, whatever platform that like it ready to open, people go get work. We have the industrial in the Phoenix Park, where people are setting up the thing they're ready to have one company, a local company, making luggage and thing them right there, them doing the thing and exporting. Things are happening, but come up aside be Cessa and just like Donald Trump and them spreading fake news and people buying it because they're going and dig into the emotion. So if things ain't going good with them at home or this issue, the first thing they watch Rowley, I ain't like Rowley, I hate Rowley. We suffering. We're suffering with. We just suffering. You ain't eat for the day? Yeah, of course I eat and things, but we suffering, things hard. You're going to the concert and things, well, you mean I can't miss that? But how are you going that? Yeah, I must go and I must go and like myself. I go sit down home and only suffer. You're paying for kind of, yeah, I don't join gym already, but how are you paying for things suffering? So what happened? So I can't spend my money how I want to spend it, or I must just sit down and sell up. But they're telling you they're suffering. There will always have people in our society who are very vulnerable and will need the state resources to help them. If all of them getting it, sometime I guess not, because you see on TV, you see in this family, that family. Could the state really help everybody who vulnerable? I think not again. That's why we need corporate sponsors and kind-hearted people and things to help also. The government had a part, we too have our part. The government can help everybody, it's impossible. You could help, you can, and everything is not 100% in everything, but you try as much as possible to keep the percentage at a high level where those who may fall off the grid, while they are important, it is not that amount where it will so influence or interrupt or whatever. I might be sounding harsh, but that is reality of thing. That small group that is not getting, you hope that corporate sponsors and other NGOs and other things pick up and treat with those matters. So again, I'm asking you, are you going to allow that conversation where we're suffering and we're hungry, nothing going right, this government run the country to the ground, permeating all their brains when all they're watching are wrong and seeing it can't be true. Two realities can exist together. That could be cognitive dissonance. You can't say we suffering and we bad and we country going through, we go eat grass when we the top country to come, one of the 10 top countries to come to visit here. Where that groceries are always packed with people, nobody in the grocery begging. That people going in the bank line up for loan. That people buying cars. The place packed with cars, just now, cars will just pack up, you can't move. Fact selling out 30,000 people went across the Tobago for Carnival. People done start to pay on the mask costume, people in the gym still ram out. You can't tell me we suffering and we hungry and the country going through and the country gone through and these things happening. It don't make sense of people pick sense out and nonsense. Today was a day in school to learn because we know she have a 5-day weekend, so she not out. So while she not, we go talk the thing and we go talk and teach. Each one teach one. I don't know everything. What I know I will impart all, but again I'm asking always a very serious question. Are you going to allow the UNC and the detractors to say that this country going through. But ask yourself, if this country going through and we suffering, it had nothing against this country, why do you want to come and rule over it? Why are they fighting to get into office? Because when they was there, they had no plan. Them men do nothing. The UN ain't come with a policy, they ain't come with a plan. Well, probably to spend, based on what Makanda Laga say. But no big policy. What has UNC done that is so memorable? What has Kamla Bisesa said, stood up and talk about that you say, wow, something that you remember her that is so inspirational? What has she? Nothing. Baze Pande still was a man when he talk, you listen and say, hey, oh God, Silver Fox, but Kamla, nothing. Her cabinet, nothing. She MPs and them, nothing. There must be a basic. Primary school children and all could do better than them. What is so fascinating to get the UNC to come back in office for what? For crumbs? To say they thief, but we still get something. That is a society all they want to leave to all the children and all the grandchildren to come. Well, all eyes on the US election, I think it's tomorrow, because that will have ramifications for us. Because to me, I liken Kamla Bissasa's female Donald Trump, a female Donald Trump, weak, ineffective, and dangerous. So people again, 2025, the ball in all the court. If all they're going to allow people to put all this negativity in their headspace, but when they walk around, you're not saying that. I'm not saying we don't have crime. I'm not saying we don't have a challenge with crime. I'm not saying those things. I'm not saying that people in our society may not have it as other people. I'm not saying there may not be a home that don't have enough food. I'm not saying there may be a home where people not working. I'm not saying those things. But to say that this country fall apart and gone through, that is wrong. You could say that there are people suffering and okay, that's okay. You could say some hungry, yes, but you can't tell me the country going through. You can't tell me there's nothing here because it's all they say, no, they're not leaving. And all they have the money to leave. Why you not leaving and go where it is milk and honey? All they not leaving. So they should check all their self-food when they talk to them to ask them why they're not leaving. And if they say they're saying to build back, ask them what they did in 2010 to 15 to build this country when they had oil prices so high. What they did? All they go tell you, the children's hospital and how it's open. Okay. What again? Tim go be saying 100 and something school. Accent the name of the school is he can't tell you. If as a minister of education under me 100 and something school bill, I go in everywhere them school bill, take pictures and say, look it here. He can't tell you up to now because it has lie. That is why it does fall apart when they come together, because it come together based on lies, hoping that it go hold them together till they get into office. And when they get, everybody fall apart because that's such a lie and confusion and back and on. And again, I'll go back to this, before the inception of the People's National Movement in this country, even 10 years after universal suffrage, where people could have voted, everybody could have voted, this country was in confusion and chaos and mayhem. That was since back then. Rodney Charles recently told us the only party to take us out of the morass and the confusion is the People's National Movement. Joel, Alva, Diane, Teresa, Agnes, Michael, Gertrude, Shepard, Leon, Dandy, Kathleen, Florence, Roxanne, Anne-Marie, Diane, Jonathan, I think the thing so fast, Merle, Rosalind, Jennifer, Christopher, Cheryl, Hazel, Shirley, Larry, Pauline, Bulty, Everett, Marva, Kurt, Katia, and Joycelyn, Helen Ross Rohans from Pleasantville, Kathleen, Hadara, Charles, Ingrid, Nicole. The most I could do, people, is talk. The most I could do is talk and show you another side of it. Because the UNC want to show you one side, I just show you another side. Some people say, don't talk about the wrongs of the PNM and all that. Who want to go and make up the platform and speak about the ills of the PNM, they're free to do that. Don't tell me what to talk about, right? I choose my topics, nobody pays me. I take my time and my energy to do what I do because for love of country. And for love at least showing people another side of it. Yeah? You can't vex with me for that. If people want to just sit down and listen to gloom and doom at the UNC, I refuse to be bound to that. I refuse to enter that in my head space. when I'm seeing so much other positive things happening. I've never seen so much excitement in the energy sector before. Under Kevin Ramnarine, you never say here nothing, waste of time. Kamala come on the TV with some oil people, whoever it is, an engineer, whoever, and a bottle shaking it up. They say they find oil. Oh, they remember that? They say they find oil all year. And have it in a thing shaking up, they find it. Whoever become of that, they was lying. Imagine something like that, they put on a big charade and come and say they get oil. It was a lie, people. And all the line these people come in all the headspace. People like Ralph Maraj who full of hate. He full of hate, he taught him from the days of his sister and what happened to his personal life. So he know he have a hatred. Because he's seeing Dr. Oli more successful than he. Is that what hurting them? Because of Dr. Oli black. And he's successful. They can't denounce his qualification, his academics, they cannot. They can't say for his academic qualification. And they see how people treat him internationally. That does hurt them. Because somebody black like he is sustained the back because it don't see head. If you had a little color and thing wrong them, they go like you. But once you're black like Dr. Rowley, they don't want nothing black so ruling them. Because of the insecurity, I saying so. Because I've seen some people of India, they say blacker than me. But we humans at the end of the day, I don't watch race, I just watch face. But if you come at me with race thing, I will respond to you. I'm not afraid to respond to you. If you disrespect me, I'm not afraid to disrespect you. If you come to me with hate, what do you want me to do? Me and Jesus Christ? Me didn't come to save the world. If you come at me with hate, what are you supposed to do? Bow my head and no. We will have to treat with it on a level. Me ain't talking about violence, you know. So don't get tapped. I don't advocate for violence, but I'm a person I believe in talking. If you hit me so with words, I go hit you so with words. You come to me with love, you go get love. You come to me with animosity, especially uncalled for, what are you supposed to do? Turn my other cheek? Me no chupity. And because I stand up and defend myself, I'm not talking violence, people. I'm not into that. I'm not into no fighting and thing, whatever. But you see my mouth, I could cuss. I could answer to suit. I could talk to you very diplomatically. I could talk with the Queen's language. I could use green verbs. I could use like on the block. I could mix it up, right? Again, I'm saying as I leave, all of us equal in Trinidad and Tobago. All of us equal in this country. Nobody more superior than nobody. We are all here to build this country. There are some of us who intend the recalcitrant minorities, who intend on seeing this country burned down because they're not in office. We don't deal with that. We're dealing with the majority who want this country to be built. So an Indian child, an African child, a Chinese child, a Syrian child, a white man child could all go to school and love and play together, grow up with one another. They could even intermarry and all with each other and build a society. That's what we want to leave for we children. Not this kind of thing with Kamala and them getting on with and causing division in this country. We don't want that. The young people fed up of that. They want something different, they want something new. But that doesn't necessarily mean age. And that's where some of them young people just get mixed up in. You might want something fresh and new, but it does not necessarily mean a young person in age. It could be an elder person who have that new age thinking. It could be a person who have the experience and the little elder, but they have that kind of vibe that they could and bridge the gap between the young and the old. So don't discount the old people and just about young people. Go. We see what happening in Tobago. It's a set of young people and they make Tobago in a mess. Tobago in a mess because they didn't have the experience. They have the youth. They may have the energy, but they don't have the experience because it's not simply about being young and you're bright. It's about running a country, understanding the policy, understanding diplomatic relations, understanding how to treat with several issues because you're no longer in charge of no power. It's 1 point something million people. from different diverse communities, ethnic background, socioeconomic background, yeah, religious background, sexual orientation, different peoples. So when I go there, it's not for you on your own, just the Hindus, or just Muslims, or just Christians, or just, well, they don't have nothing for Rastafari, eh? But not just Rasta. It's for everybody. And the People's National Movement has always been the only national party. They have included all different races, Chinese, Syrians, Indians, local white, Coco Payol, Africans. Yes, and it's a base largely African people, but it's not only African people. So don't give me the talk that the PNM is a black man party. The PNM cannot be a black man party, because then what will happen? The other residents and other citizens in this country will not be dealt with in a fair way. So it cannot be an African party, but they could have policies and things in place that will treat with the needs of people of African descent, because they always tell us we are the one at the lower end of the stick. We're not doing well in school. Everything negative they say attributed to African people. And we just buy it, lock, stock, and barrel. But yet when programs are put in place to help the same people who they say so disenfranchised and ain't doing good, they just say racism. And so people, this is serious talk. I was in school today. Serious talk. Not every day is a grin. And every talk is a kick single. Not every grin is a smile. Eh? Not every grin, when you see people grin, the teeth at you. That could be a snarl too. Eh? You have to understand the social cues. So people, I want to tell you all, thank you so much for staying tuned in and locked in. I know it is not the usual, but as again I'm saying, every day is not the same day. And one thing in life we must be able to accept is change. Change can be very uncomfortable sometimes. Change could be frightening sometimes, but change is inevitable and everything must change. And the PNM has shown it can change from 1956 to now and remain one body still. Whereas the UNC, DLP, DAC, they have shown that once change hit them, they just fall apart because they don't have nothing of substance. So remember who have the substance, remember who has the stability, remember who has always been a national party, despite the challenges that they would have had with infighting or corruption, and despite all those things. Look at who has developed all the infrastructure in this country. And of course, they could have done more. Everybody could have done more. After they taught, everybody could say, I could have do this and they could have do that. But at the end of the day, they did what they did, and we are where we are because of having a people's national movement in this country, where they say before they came into inception, this country was confusion and individualism, meaning it's all man for himself. The PNM changed that. So people, you all have a blessed evening, and see you all on Wednesday Gospel when I come with something fresh, something new. You know, the Lazarus series is on, and you don't know what to expect, who will turn up. Yeah? So thank you all for staying truly locked in. I love you all. Yes, one love, Jonathan, at the end of the day. One love, really one love and truth. All races together. I firmly believe in that. I am an eternal optimist. Yes, so good night to my African brothers and sisters, my Indian brothers and sisters, my Syrian brothers and sisters, my Chinese brothers and sisters, my local whites brothers and sisters. Love you all. See you all on Wednesday, God's Spirit.
PNM coming.